אז יאללה. Okay. So now, I think we pretty much finished chapter 3. I think we might have had something else. I don't remember if we completely finished chapter 3, but we are going to go on to chapter 4, and we'll do some inside and some outside, just for trying to cover as much as possible. And also because I find chapter 4 is it's much more practical. It brings it very down to, and this is Yossi. So he gives another introduction to chapter 4, but essentially he explains that there are, what are we counting on Hashem for? I mean, we can say everything, but he really breaks it down. We count on Hashem for myself, for my parnasa, for my wealth, for my family, for my friends, for my enemies, for the mitzvot I do with my body and for my benefit, or the mitzvot I do for the benefit of others. Or Shaar from Olam Haba. He literally can list all the different things, but the beauty in Shaar HaBitachon is he really makes it so clear, which he discusses over and over again, is the idea that Hashem wants us to take the initiative. He doesn't want us to count on him running the show without our involvement. Obviously, he wants us to recognize he's running the show, but he wants our involvement in it. And then he's going to now spend time in this chapter. How are we involved? We have to take care of our health. We have to earn our wealth. What do we do with our health? What do we do with our wealth? And everything else. So that we're going to go into a little more. But ultimately, with all of these pieces, is to recognize that everything Hashem does, again, over and over, we say this all the time, but he brings this up all the time, is for our best interest in this world and in the world to come. And again, that was what I had mentioned to you a few classes ago, which is the gadlut of Hashem, that nobody else can understand what's best for us in the world to come, other than Hashem. And that also explains why we don't always understand Hashem's ways, because we cannot calculate that. Which I think, like, whenever we try and figure out, like, but why? I don't understand that piece in the slightest. So what does Hashem want for us in the world to come? Okay. So now that he wants us to be involved more, now that we're saying that Hashem wants us to be more involved, Hashem also doesn't want us to risk our lives, put ourselves in danger. This is an amazing, I'm not going to even get into the halachic piece of this. Are we allowed to do certain things? Can you go bungee jumping? Can you go skydiving? Can you do all this? Not my question. Can you stay outside when it's a siren and watch instead of being in the mamad? Not my issue right now. Because when you know what's life-saving, you also know what is life-damaging and dangerous. And he really brings down, the Shaar HaBitachon really expresses this. Now we're going to go into page 116. That you cannot put yourself in danger. Now, what does danger constitute? Here he brings a few examples of drinking a poisonous poison or fighting with a lion in the den. We've been jumping into the sea, maybe because the waters are so rough for the wild animals, or maybe they didn't know how to swim like that. But regardless right now of what is considered dangerous halachically and what's not, the idea is, are we allowed to say, Hashem, I'm going to count on you to save me. Hashem, I can do anything. Hashem, I'm counting on you. I'm going to go fight the lion in the den, and I'm going to assume, or the alligator, and I'm going to assume, God, that you're not going to let anything happen to me. One of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to get killed, and then he's considered lo tirtzach and all these other things, and he put himself in danger, and now he's considered on whatever level as he killed himself, or he might be saved. Hashem really might save him because it's not his time, and then now he's counting on this miracle to save him, and then what happens? You use up zchuyot for olam haba because you're counting on Hashem to do something so me'al teva, and now you're losing out on schar of olam haba. Again, only Hashem can have these cheshbonot. We can't understand this. you can see inside, there's so much more in depth about punishments of a person who kills himself. I'm not getting into all that. I think, first of all, our times are too crazy, and also you can read it inside. But there's a big distinction between doing something because you're testing Hashem, or you want the thrill, you want the excitement, or a person, as we read on page 119, V'kol ha'memit et atzmo. Okay, so here he's talking about forsaking the service of Hashem. That's how he's classifying it. You're rebelling against Hashem by putting yourself in danger. We're not talking here about al-kiddush Hashem, because that's actually the opposite. If somebody is fighting for Am Yisrael, and they are risking their life for Am Yisrael, this is all al-kiddush Hashem. This is actually one of God's greatest, I don't want to say glories, but I'm saying to see his children fighting, defending his other children. This is Kiddush Hashem, the absolute opposite of the Chilul Hashem, of desecrating Hashem's name by saying, why am I important? I can risk it. No, God created you. You're the Tzelem Elokim. He wants it. But to do it al Kiddush Hashem, to do it to save Am Yisrael, this is another whole level. Okay, I want to move on from here a little bit, because then we get into something that page 123. So now we're talking here about my parnasa, health. I say, I'm an exercise physiologist, nutrition, personal trainer. I make it very clear, the first session coming to me is hishtadlut. What we're about to do, the journey we're about to embark on for health, is only hishtadlut. We can try and eat healthy, we can try and work out, we can try and be the fittest and the fastest and the strongest and the most flexible. That's only hishtadlut. Hashem will take it from wherever he wants to go with it afterwards. The same person, first of all, we see sport athletes who can also drop dead. And we see sport athletes who can also get cancer. And they are the fittest and the strongest and they can also get hit by a car. All these things can also happen. It's hishtadlut, and we're supposed to be taking the hishtadlut. We're supposed to be using our health. We're supposed to be increasing our health to be able to use our health. The same thing goes for money. We're supposed to be increasing our money so we can use our money for good. It's all the same thing. We're supposed to be recognizing ourselves as that vessel, as that kli, so that we can receive, so that we can give. You'll see later, we're going to get into the whole concept on how in this world there are givers and receivers. Hashem decides who's the giver and who's the receiver, who's going to have the money and who's going to be the poor person, who's going to have the health and who's going to be suffering from disease. Hashem mechashben et hakol. And everybody's a giver or a receiver because the givers need to give and the receivers need the givers to give. Yes? This is the way of the world. But the same thing applies to our health. Hashem is giving us our health. What are we doing with our health? Am I running to do chesed? Am I running to be the best Eved Hashem? Am I running to use can I carry this for you? Can I pick that up for, or am I using it to I just want to be, run faster in the race and have my muscles bigger for, leidatma. And the same thing goes for wealth, which we're going to get to, but Hashem is very clear that the same way we're not allowed to damage our body and put our lives at risk, we have an obligation to work on our health, to eat healthy, to be exercising. All of this, he wants our involvement. And this applies to going to doctors. Yes? B'zchut Rebbe Milubavitch on his yurtzeit a couple of days ago, yesterday, today's, etmol, gimel. He made it very clear, go to a doctor. Because Hashem gave doctors abilities to heal. Who's giving the doctor the ability to heal? The healer with a capital H, right? You have to recognize that. Recognizing that Hashem gave the doctor the ability. In fact, there are loads of stories of the Rebbe sending people to doctors and just telling them. One story I read about him where he somebody came to him and I read the patient. I read all the doctor's reports and I read all the statistics and I read all the research and he said, are you a doctor? And he said, no, I'm the patient. And he said, so why are you stressing? Like, don't you have a doctor that's going to take care of all that? Meaning the Lubavitcher Rebbe understands a doctor is sent from Hashem, but he wanted him to just, you're causing yourself more harm. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said, all your anxiety, all your stress, you're going to get yourself sick more than what the doctor can heal your illness. Baruch. Every shaliach, Hashem has shluchim harbe lemakom. Hashem has many messengers. We always daven. We always have to daven that every messenger is from Hashem. The right messenger from Hashem, yeah? The right tutor for the student, the right doctor for the patient, the right Rebbe for the Talmud. Everybody's a messenger. And our job, I forgot that's that. Couldn't understand what I was feeling. And our job is to recognize that they are from Hashem to help us. And we recognize that they are sent. Achshav, we opened up the vessel for the Yeshua. Now I tangented and now I don't remember. Okay, so here he's talking about the livelihood, his sustenance. Okay, I want to... 1 second. I'd want to just mention a few things on page 125, because this is actually significant. The last paragraph on 125, well, the second to last. Anybody want to read? Ach ein ra'ui? Or the English version? Go for it.
Similarly, it is not fitting for him to think that his occupation will help him more than God has already decreed. He should not rejoice in his choice of this particular occupation or in his efforts to obtain it. Rather, he should thank the Creator who provided him with sustenance subsequent to his toil. He didn't cause his toil and trouble to be for naught, as it is written, if you eat the toil of your hands, you are praiseworthy and it is good for you.
Okay. So again, because I was doing it out and I was kind of skipping around, but here he's talking obviously about a person needing to work to earn his livelihood, but recognize it's not because of your work that you were successful. It's not nature that is the source of the income. It is you are the kli, as we were talking about, the vessel of Hashem. And don't think that it is the job that gave you the parnasa, but it was Hashem who gave you the parnasa via the job. You know, later I'll say this now just in case I forget to say this later. But, you know, when something works out and we're supposed to be recognizing Hashem and thanking Him, physically thanking Him, verbally thanking Him. But what happens when it doesn't work out? I didn't get the job, I didn't get the shidduch, I didn't go well, I didn't find an apartment to live, and that apartment, you know, I thought it was going to be, and I went through all the paperwork and all everything, and then got canceled. Do we thank Hashem?
Yes.
We're supposed to.
Even more.
What?
Sometimes even more.
Sometimes even more, yes. 1 second. Sometimes even more, do you say it before you even see the results or as it's happening?
As it's happening.
Amazing. So, tzadika. That's what we're supposed to do. Some people afterwards, I found out there were really bad roommates there. Oh, that was a horrible shidduch. I'm so glad that didn't work out. Or that job now I got a better job. People tend to say thank you when they realize why they didn't get it. But the fact that you're saying thank you already in the process, amazing.
Sometimes, yeah.
So you can sit here and teach it better than me, but this is the whole thing. Because when something doesn't work out, it's just as much of a chesed from Hashem that when it did work out. It's the same Hashem. When it worked out, we say thank you. When it doesn't work, Hashem knows what's best for us. So when we don't get the job or don't get this or miss the bus, thank you. You know what's best for me. When you're recognizing Hashem is the source that is doing all the good or withholding what I think is good, and you're recognizing that, this is bitachon. Okay, we're going to move on because there's so much more I want to get to and say because it's all intertwined here. Why does it have to be the last class? Okay. Yallas, I want to move to the test of wealth. Okay, we're going to go on to this. It's page 133. The good news is you all have the book. And you can go back and read and learn and find the chavrusa and keep studying it. I will repeat this at the end, but it's actually imperative. You know, one of the girls in the last class said to me, I mean, it sounds so great in theory, but in practice, she's trying to find a roommate, and she's trying to find a roommate, and she's getting stressed. So I said, because we have to keep strengthening the muscle. It's not like, oh, we hear it one time and like, oh, we do the workout once and now we're so strong. We have to keep doing this, and you have to keep hearing it, and keep listening to the voices, keep learning the sefer, keep having a chavrusa, keep listening to shirim, because it has to get deeper and deeper inside. It's not a one-time, oh, I learned the book, now I'm done. I've learned this quite a few times and I'm still like, oh, no way, right? We need to keep hearing this. Our environment affects us tremendously. I'll actually even just give you an example, and then we'll go back to inside. We had one of the guys that we had over this past Shabbos, was actually a friend of my Binyamin's, and he's studying now in the Technion. I can tell that Binyamin and him didn't see eye to eye so much. He was a Chayal Boded who has different hashkafa. But as he's studying the Technion, I don't know so much about the Technion. I only know what I heard from this guy. Everyone there is very focused on their grades. It's a very, that's what they care about. Again, I'm only repeating what I gathered. I don't know anything for myself. And this is a guy who went to a few years at yeshiva. Learned guy, kilo. And Friday night at the table, I made a comment of our, the past 12 days. Okay, I know we're already past the 12 days, but if, we still just, I'm like, I was talking about the miracles. And he's like, well, I mean, the fact that they emptied Soroka, like, okay, so somebody realized that the building wasn't, they had to move out. I'm like, okay. And then he made a comment about, I know the building collapsed and they all walked out of the mamad okay, but like, that's how the mamads are built. I'm like, okay, listen, you got to stop this. Like, and he didn't see it. I was like, is there really this voice out there? Like, is that really what people think? Okay, we're talking Friday night more. By Shabbos morning, he went to early minyan, and our Rav David Bagno is amazing, amazing, amazing. And he comes home from listening to Rav Bagno's shir, and the other guy said, Achshavu beseder. What happened? Rav Bagno's talking about the miracles and about how in Tanakh and Chizkiyahu, and he's tying the whole thing, and now he's like, wow. By the end of Shabbos, not only was he was already reading Rav Shmuel Eliyahu's book of all the Nivuot Sheit Gashmu that came to fruition, and this is from 2018. This isn't even like recent, since like Corona and all these other miracles that we've been. And he was literally reading through these Nivuot and literally laughing because he couldn't even believe what he couldn't believe what he thought before he came. But my point actually is that he's surrounded by people like him. He's not hearing these voices of emunah bitachon. He's not hearing voices of hashgacha pratit. He's not hearing voices of, oh my gosh, God. He made a comment like, a miracle is like when the rocket gets stopped mid-air. I'm like, Iron Dome? Like, I'm saying this is actually like the arrow. This is actually what's happening. Oh, God gave us the ability to make the arrow, the Iron Dome. Those are miracles. By the end of Shabbos, Tzaddik Gamar, I mean, like he was like totally, flying high. Because after being, first of all, Shabbos Mekor Bracha, Shaya Shabbos is Merapeh, all that stuff, but he was in an environment of hearing these voices, and the same thing applies to hearing about wealth is from Hashem, not from we're earning it live, from your toil, your work. And the health is from Hashem, even though you have to exercise and do your part. And everything. Okay. But now I want to discuss this idea of the test of wealth, because I find this fascinating. I don't know if it applies as much in Israel. Okay, it probably does. I should stop living my little dream world. It probably does. The test of wealth. And I'm going to do this outside, I think. I'll do some of it outside. Well, let's just open the floor here. Why do you think Parnasa can be a test? There are a lot of answers, so you don't have to worry about finding the one right one.
It puts you in Gashmias instead of Ruchnias.
Okay, you're focusing on Gashmias. Yafeh, away from Ruchnias. Okay, Maud.
When you can have everything you want, it's hard to like stay grounded and to pass along those values to your kids because they maybe don't have to like toil in the same way that you did to get where you got.
So you're not having the right values that your kids are seeing as far as toiling and working for it. They just have it. Okay, Yafeh.
I think also the same for you, the opposite, when people don't have, they can like really, really struggle and it can get them like really down. It can also, I think people, you can see it the opposite, people with a lot can actually do a lot with their money, like for the good. But people who don't have can also struggle to do good for society.
So the people who don't have it are struggling to do good or feel that they can't.
They can't because
Okay,
they can't.
so that's the struggle of being poor.
Yeah.
Okay, Yafeh. Struggle of the wealth itself, though. That was a question. Yeah, it's all good. No, but you raised a valid point. But the struggle of the wealth itself. First of all, and that's the problem when they think that they can't do good because they don't have the wealth. But that we'll leave that for another time. What's the struggle of being wealthy? So focusing on the Gashmiut. Arrogance. Yes. Okay, so these are all some things. We'll go through it. I'll go through a little seder because, okay, a little bit at least. I'll try and keep a little bit to the HaBitachon seder. So first of all, like you said, right? If you're focusing on how you're making your money, is it taking away from your ruchaniut? Are you making parnasa based on Torah values? Right? Are you earning your money in a way that is not lefi halacha or even hashkafa? Are you taking it through, right, inappropriate ways? Okay. And then you have it, the question of what do you do with your money? Are you being selfish or generous? And they have ramifications. Well, if you're selfish with it, then what does it say about how you see money? I have all this money and I'm not giving it. Means, what does it mean? Yeah, I earned it. I'm not ready to give it off yet. Hold on, no. Or if I'm going to keep it and save it, well, then I don't trust Hashem's going to give it to me when I need it. No, maybe for a rainy day. For a Yerusha, for something, I'm going to save it. I'm not saying be frivolous and spend everything and give away every last penny. We have to have a balance, but it's the machshava. I'm not giving it to somebody because I think that it's mine. I earned it. Why do I have to give it? Which we all know. We are just vessels. Our money is we are just the vessel, the kli. And when somebody needs money, again, there are givers and receivers. And if we want to be a giver, we can be a giver. The receivers are going to get what they need. Are we going to be the ones to give them? That's like the Esther Malka, right? One way or another, that receiver is going to get exactly what Hashem feels they should get. Are you going to be the person to give it? Hashem can find other people to give it. Again, he can find somebody else to give the person, the receiver, what they need. But if I feel that I just need to keep it and amass it myself, it's definitely a lack of bitachon. And the other way, like you said, if I keep it all, and if I keep everything for myself, then I'm arrogant and I'm haughty. And I want everybody to give me the kavod. I earned it. I made all this money. I have extra zeros at the end of my bank account. Hello, give me the respect. Or, I want all the thank yous. I want my name on the door. I gave you all that. Why aren't you acknowledging me? If you're recognizing it's from Hashem, you don't need any of that. Like, Gil, I'm just a vessel. I'm just here to channel it right out. Yeah.
Like, so when someone has more money, they have more time on their hands. And I'm saying where someone has less, they're occupied more with working. I'm saying someone with more time on their hands can choose how they spend their time, which is technically hard.
Very hard. Nachon. So that was part of the first one. Exactly. That like, are you focused? Are you going to be distracted by Gashmiut now?
Oh, yeah.
Right? But like you said, how are you? If now you're retired, you don't have to worry about anything. You do see people that they retire and they go to Kollel. Right? Like, I have time now. Before I was working, I'm not even going to get into that piece right now, but right? People who now are just, I'm free to do chesed all day, and you see that. Or, hey, how about we go back to the bar? Hey, how about we go on another trip to the Bahamas? How about we, right? What are you doing with it? It's known in Chazal, right? Too much free time is very bad. And that was part of the, we've discussed how to pick an occupation. We've discussed that when you pick an occupation, pick something that you're good at, you're skilled at, that works for you, for your physical abilities or your mental abilities, and do something that is based on your strength. And also not worrying about the money piece. My mother's here, so I remember one time I wanted to be a photographer. I want to do something that's going to make money. But at the end of the day, we know a lot of photographers. Don't worry, I'm happy I'm not a photographer. But we know a lot of people who are photographers and they're very successful. When Hashem wants them to be successful with what their skill is, they can. And some people can. I remember, I think I even said this one time. I got fired from a job because I was in college and I was working at like whatever computer stuff, and I did all the full shot avoda in the first hour. So that they fired me because they didn't like seeing that somebody was available. But I felt I was very busy. I had a lot to do with the hours that was not doing all their data entry work, but they didn't like that because it wasn't their work. But anyway, but yes, what are we doing with all our time? Okay. Then he goes on to discuss seeking wealth and honor, as we mentioned. Page 140, the cause for this mistake is theirs. This mistake of theirs is that they see that their masses, they see how the masses honor wealthy people. The masses' honor for the wealthy people is born out of hope that they will benefit from what the wealthy person has, right? Are we turning to that person? Because, and I'm not going to lie, I'm about to say this on video, but okay. It's a very big, it's not nisayon. I'm very conscious of this when I fundraise for Beit Binyamin. A lot of amazing people I'm meeting in trying to fundraise for this project. I want to hang out with them because they are unbelievable. I now run the risk. Are they thinking that I want to hang out with them because I want their money? No. I'm not worried about money for Beit Binyamin. Mamash, I see over again, Hashem gives Beit Binyamin all the money that it needs to run the programming. It's not for us, it's for the receivers. Hashem takes care of it. But I always think to myself, oh wait, I'm supposed to be extra nice and thank them because I don't want them to be upset and slighted, but maybe they're the type that want the acknowledgement. I can't offend them, but yet that's not what I believe because they're not any different just because they have money. In my eyes. I hope that was okay that I said that. But zenachon, that's something really that I respect so much about my Binyamin. To him, a status wasn't a thing. In the army, if you were, it was like a big joke that the mempe, somebody that these regular soldiers were scared to even approach them when they had to. They're scared to speak to somebody so high up. Didn't faze Binyamin because he's a person. Binyamin just said, it doesn't matter to him that whatever he has on it, he's a person. You can just talk to him. And everybody was so scared. It happens to be this Mempe was very, very close to Binyamin at the end and came to visit Binyamin on the farm. He never visited a single other soldier. But he came to Binyamin because Binyamin treated him like a person. Which again, and Baruch Hashem, this Chiloni, Mifaked Pluga, didn't care for that kavod from Binyamin. He was actually happy to earn a friendship, which is actually quite special. And Binyamin didn't care titles, which again, it made it hard in school when he didn't care a title of a superior staff. But he also didn't care if somebody was, as we call subordinate, like a lower, somebody with special needs or like that, somebody a little offer. Binyamin treated him the same way he treated the mempeh. To him, it didn't matter. A person is a person, and he spoke to them the same, gave the same respect, because he wasn't blinded by any of this. The status to him, I think, is amazing, because we get so lost in that in our world. Okay, I want to move forward a little bit. Okay. I think I'm going to skip to page 1. Oh gosh, there's so much. You must do this on your own. It's really not fair that I'm skipping, but I want to make sure that I close with certain things. Page 154. Oh, this we could have all learned before we were on like Corona lockdown with this 12-day war, dealing with family and friends. Our children, our spouses, our parents, they are just as much sent to us as everything else. They're just as much there as just sent from Hashem for whatever the challenge may be, as everything. Here, just to do this inside, because I can't make this up. If the person trusting in Hashem has a wife, family members, friends, and enemies, then he should rely on Hashem to save him from the burden usually associated with them being involved. Yes? And he should make efforts to meet his obligation toward them and to take care of their wants and to do wholeheartedly whatever we're supposed to do for them or because of them is also all from Hashem, which gives a great perspective on how we're supposed to treat them. Hashem sending them to us, either to test us or to give us the reward. But when we have the right perspective, he should avoid doing anything that will cause them harm. Instead, he should engage in the means that will bring them good, and he should be loyal to them regarding all of their matters. We have to give them, it's sometimes harder to give our family than to give our strangers. But this is our closer people. And Hashem says, before you go give tzedakah to everybody else, take care of your people. And we know this is a halachic discourse as well. But why? Because these are people we're engaging with the most. They sometimes can be a higher nisayon, a more difficult nisayon. And the Shaar HaBitachon is making it very clear they are just as much sent from Hashem. And anything that is difficult for them or difficult for you with engaging with them is still also from Hashem. Okay, we are going to go on to page 158. Hello. Okay, so we kind of did this outside, people helping people. All right, Yalla, let's do a little bit inside. We can't leave without doing somebody reading, really going more deeply inside. I feel like we're going to miss out on the Shaar HaBitachon's language. 158, second paragraph. Who wants to, or we can even start from the first one. Yalla. You don't have to say for who? Anybody? Go for it.
When the need arises for a person to make a request of either his superior or his subordinate, he should rely on Hashem to deliver his request and consider those people of whom he made the request to be merely the messenger whom God will use to complete his request.
Right. First of all, who's going to give you the ability to do whatever? I might be able to do it. I might not be able to do it. It's also all from Hashem. Can I just ask one last time, 7:45 or 8? Can I go till 8? Okay, great. Sorry. And he brings examples of working and sowing the lands and all the different means of livelihood. He brings the example of the land. Actually, this is quite brilliant. He brings the example of the land because when he plows and he tries to plant and does all that, is he thanking the land? Right? He's thanking Hashem, who's in charge of the land, and the same thing applies then to everything else. It's just a great visual. Like, you're not actually thanking the dirt. Okay. Okay. Let's go on to 160. Let's go on to 160, and we'll do these 3 paragraphs. Anybody? 160, who wants it? Go for it.
If his request was not fulfilled by the people he turned to, he should not blame them, nor should he blame it on the lack of effort on their part. Instead, he should thank Hashem, who chose to withhold his request from him for his own good. And he should praise the people of whom he made the request, based on his knowledge of their efforts, that they invested to fulfill his request, even though it did not materialize according to his wishes or the wishes of the people who wanted to help him.
That's what we said before, thanking Hashem when he withholds. Okay, carry on.
This is how a person should conduct himself with his friends and acquaintances, as well as with those with whom he does business and with his servants and partners.
Okay, last one.
Similarly, if either a superior or subordinate of his makes a request of him, he should wholeheartedly make every effort to perform it. But if possible, he should try to complete the request in private, so that he will not become haughty as a result. The above only applies if the person who asked him for the request is someone who is deserving of his efforts on his behalf.
Okay. So this is, I love this because this is when you recognize what you were able to do is from Hashem, you don't need the thanks. Yeah, I was able to help them. I was able to deliver the boxes on time, whatever. Why do I need thanks from them? I was just doing what Hashem gave me the ability to do for them. By the way, we still say thank you to people who do things for us. Yes? This isn't an excuse to not thank people, but the people doing it shouldn't wait for the thanks.
Like anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay to do things anonymously. And that's actually like, it's always a question, by the way, you know, when people donate big sums of money and they want their name up, right? And you're like, come on, but why can't you do it anonymously? On the other hand, it's causing other people to give. Oh, hold on, he did, I want my name up with his name, right? So there's always this, what are your intentions? It's also something that we have all these stories, things that like Binyamin did that people didn't know. He didn't want people to know because he mamash. I don't know if I should call him that he had emuna pshuta or amuka. I don't know like what, because to him it was just so natural, but it was also so deep. He didn't want any thank yous for anything because he didn't see that he needed the thank yous. He literally didn't think that he needed thank yous. It's fine. I just did it, and I'm talking like big projects, not even like little nothings. But he really sought his strength from Hashem. That was something, and I learned from that. I aspire to be like that. He really acknowledged, like, yeah, I just did it because, whatever. I remember one time we were doing like I said delivering boxes before, because one time we were doing like a Tomchei Shabbos thing, and I was driving, and I had him like carry the boxes. By the time we got to the second house, he's like, why are you wasting your time, Mommy? Why don't you go home? I can do it. I'm like, because it's easier if I drive. And he's like, yeah, but I can just do it. Like big deal. Like, I can just put out the extra effort. I don't need you to waste your time. Nobody has to even know, because, it's all these tomchei things, like nobody even knows, and it's great. You just go, you do, you leave. And he knew he was able to. So, like, why not maximize my strength to help others? And you can go do something else, Mommy. And I think that the beauty of having bitachon is not only all the serenity, all the peace of mind, all the calmness, the anxiety dissipates. Bitachon actually is the best midah improvement tool ever. You can give freely. You're not worrying about what other people have, that there's no kina, because you're not jealous of somebody, because if Hashem gave it to them and he didn't give it to me, it's because they need it and I don't need it. And it helps, we can go through every midah and how it is affected by bitachon. And anything from working and not needing to overwork and being involved in Gashmiut to, what else? Being happy for others. You can be so joyous for somebody else. I have a friend, she's not young anymore, and she is so happy at every wedding she goes to, even though she's single herself. Just when Hashem wants me to find mine, I will. I can be happy for that one. And she is pure joy. It's amazing to watch her. But she says, when Hashem wants me to have mine, I'll have mine. And the same thing goes for health. And we can be, every bit of it, when we recognize with our bitachon that we're given everything that we need for our lives, or withheld from our lives, then all of the midot, all of the ka'as, the jealousy, all the negative midot, they don't exist. Yeah? No, I don't know, right? Again, in theory, it's something that we work on. This is exactly it. And that's why, yeah, thank you. The musical, sounded like very intensive. But this is really it. When we go back and we can understand that we're counting on Hashem for myself, for my wealth, for my health, for my family, for my friends, for my enemies. Hashem's taking care of all of that. For the mitzvot I can do for somebody else's benefit. Also, by the way, we count on Hashem to give us the koach to do mitzvot. It's not even a given. Yeah? It's not a given that I can execute something that I plan to do, even l'shem mitzvah. So I just think that all of this, all the concept of bitachon, all the learning about bitachon, all the environment we put us in and hearing all the time, it is all, it's really all a part of developing ourselves, but also everybody around us. When we're not stressing about something, I watch this all the time. If we're not stressing about something that everybody else is stressing about, and because, Sada, Yad Hashem, I'm trusting Hashem's going to take care of it, and if not, it's because He chooses not to, and we can use these words, you know how it affects people around you? All of a sudden, everybody in our environment, okay. The emunah pshuta, the emunah amuka, that we can work on ourselves, affects everybody around us. And it's affecting the midot of everyone around us. And, Binyamin had a line that I like sharing. It wasn't really his line, but he questions himself. He wrote in his notebook that he questions if he's still holding to this. And that was, Ma shekashe naseh hayom, ma shebilti afshari naseh machar. So whatever's hard, I'll do today, and whatever's impossible, I'll do tomorrow. Not that it won't get done. It's just I'm going to first take care of the hard things, and afterwards impossible. Because when you think that impossible is, man, hayad Hashem tiktar, Hashem can't do it. If Hashem wants it to be, it will be. So we all have all of this, yeah. Each and every one of us are able to do virtually anything. If we hold on to this feeling and this understanding that nothing is too big or too small for Hashem. And when we can hold on to this, when we can really honestly feel that Hashem is capable, He gives us when He's deserving, when He wants us to have it, when He thinks it's best for us, and He won't give it under any circumstances if it's not, then we just have to keep doing our part, staying. I think of these 12 days. It's really 11 days from 3 a.m. to 3 a.m. I'm just saying, but I understand when Trump says something, everybody has to listen. But there's a big discussion like, how are we meant to incorporate, take it all with us, hold on to the awesomeness of everything we experienced, and also go food shopping and go back to school, but go back to work, and how are we supposed to be meshing everything that we've now experienced? And I think, so I had my own, somebody on Shabbos said, it's okay to come back to mundane. He said, because we all saw. And now when we see, that just worked out also, that's the same Hashem that did those miracles. Meaning a spark is now ignited with what we experienced that we won't forget it. None of us are going to forget it. But now when we see other things in our mundane life, whoa. I keep thinking of like the Mamad Har Sinai moment, yeah? This mass revelation, the wow, the thunder, the lightning, the greatness. And then what happened after that? Forget Chet HaEgel right now, but then we're in the Midbar, and then Chet HaMeraglim. And, I just want to stay with the Nisim. But that was the Chet HaMeraglim, right? They just wanted to stay on the level of Nisim. They didn't want to have to go into a place where like, but what happens? Hashem says, but that's the point. You're supposed to go 3 days through the Midbar. Hopefully we're going to avoid all the Chet HaMeraglim, Tisha B'Av, Shiva Asar times. Please God, we're going to avoid, and it's not going to happen. I'm really counting on that. But then we get to go, and this is our job here. Our job here in Eretz Yisrael, this is the whole beauty of Rav Kook. When you're in Chutz La'aretz, you can just enjoy being on a spiritual place. Not that they're so spiritual. I'm just saying, maybe some of them are. When you're in Chutz La'aretz, what are you working on? All you can work on is being spiritual. But here we have to build the lands. Here we're in Eretz Yisrael, we have to build an army, and we have to do finances, and we have to build bridges and tunnels, and we have to be physical. The man ha'am. I know they can do mitzvot and all that stuff, but that's in the spiritual realm. If you're not in Israel, you're not building physically. We're supposed to be able to just work and see Hashem in the mundane. We have to take everything we experienced and then go back to our lives. Oh, the ground is growing. Oh, it's not the earth, it's Hashem letting the ground grow. Oh, I got the parnasa, I landed the job, I found a roommate for my apartment, I found the shidduch. Hashem is working in his other way. That he wants us to see him not only in the Har Sinai moments, because that didn't last. He wants us to see him in our little Dalet Amos of my house, with my children, with my family, with my parents, right? And this is via bitachon. When we can see Hashem that way, it's out of bitachon to see Hashem that way. This is how we carry it through. We use everything we learned, all the greatness to just take with us into our Lech Teich Acharai B'Midbar, follow me in the Midbar. You're going to come to a place where you're going to have to work. The miracles are not going to necessarily be so obvious. אבל זה בסדר. זה חלק העניין. Please God, will be zocha through all of this to really be living the life of the greatest revelations of the Beit, of the Beit HaMikdash, and all of the glory, all of the Shechina that will come with that. Bezrat Hashem, kvar, any second. Bezrat